here's Brody Brazil.
You know, when it comes to the fronts of Tampa and St. Pete, things have been suspiciously quiet regarding the Rays in recent days and weeks, and even the last month. We haven't heard much about what happens next. I mean, we do know that the roof for Tropicana Field has been approved to be replaced, but not the internals of the stadium. Will the Rays be playing there once again starting next season and maybe for a couple more seasons, like they're under contract with the city of St. Pete for? But what's the ultimate long-term plan? Again, things are very quiet in Tampa and St. Pete regarding the Rays. But in Orlando, they're talking a bunch. That Dreamers group, they're really pushing their narrative right now. And so the hype also builds surrounding that. What I'm about to play for you here is an interview on an Orlando television station with a Florida business that's very much motivated to bring Major League Baseball to Orlando. And I just want to kind of point out the back and forth here and the sentiments and the feelings from Orlando and how all of this kind of shakes out into the Rays' overall situation. Watch this.
Our next guest looks into that question. He is John Boyd, the Boyd Company principal. John, good to see you. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. It's great to be with you.
Let's start with what your company does, because obviously you've got some expertise in this area.
And this is really important. You need to know who you're hearing from right here, right now. So let Mr. Boyd explain that.
So we advise corporations where to locate their facilities throughout North America. We also help private developers and cities and states around the country attract new stadiums and arenas.
So it is their business to bring a baseball team to Orlando, just so we're being very clear here. That's their background. This is what they do, and this is their position on all of this.
Sports really is the holy grail of economic development today. They're really the catalysts for exciting new real estate development.
Not fandom, not tradition, not the enjoyment of sports. Sports have become real estate, by the way.
And other types of tax-generating, job-creating, commercial real estate activity.
Yeah, John, when you think of Orlando, obviously we're the #1 most visited city in the country for tourism. We have huge numbers, and right now the NBA franchise and MLS franchise, what would a Major League Baseball team in the city do for this area and for tourism numbers?
By the way, Orlando, 80 million tourists a year. Las Vegas, which touts itself as, the big whopper, only half that, only 40 million tourists a year. And a majority of them, obviously, not a majority, a large portion for business reasons with all the conferences in Nevada.
It would be great. I mean, Orlando brings to Major League Baseball a lot of what Las Vegas has brought to the NFL.
Do you really want to be what Las Vegas has brought to the NFL? A stadium where Raiders fans are always outnumbered, overmatched by Kansas City fans, by Denver fans, certainly by Los Angeles fans, by San Francisco fans. Do you really want to follow that model?
And to Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball doesn't exist in Las Vegas yet. We have yet to see how that even turns out or works out, and it is entirely apples and oranges. Major League Baseball versus the NFL in Las Vegas. Let me rewind here for a second because I want to make sure you hear this all over again.
Las Vegas has brought to the NFL and to Major League Baseball. Global tourism, excellent air service, hospitality infrastructure, and a large, growing, and influential media market.
Okay, Orlando is a bigger media market, but Las Vegas is the number 40 media market in the United States, would be the smallest in Major League Baseball if the A's were to land there. And the other part about it is you think about companies in tourism in Las Vegas, or in this case, let's just dial in on Orlando. They're trying so hard to bring visitors to Orlando for existing attractions. If a Major League Baseball team was deemed to be in that same realm of attractions as like Disney World or anything like that, do they want this competition? Do those resorts, do those theme parks, do they want the competition of a family going to a 4.5-hour baseball game event on any given day rather than spending that time and their money at a theme park? Who knows? Same thing with Las Vegas. Do the casinos really want people coming to Las Vegas only to spend 4 hours a day inside a dome watching a baseball game on turf? Who knows?
So much of the focus has been on whether Sternberg will sell. Clearly, he's under enormous pressure by other owners and by Major League Baseball.
Enormous pressure. And I mean, that's one person's perspective. We really don't know behind the scenes. Is it a little bit of pressure? Has there been a hint? I do believe to some degree it wouldn't have leaked out like it did a couple weeks ago unless there was a certain amount of pressure. Maybe there is enormous pressure.
But Orlando really has so much to offer Major League Baseball in terms of a premier high-growth market with a lot of community support to make this project successful, including a great investment group led by Rick Workman, John Morgan, and a great site near the convention center, which, by the way, is undergoing a massive renovation over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it has for sure. I was just there. And you bring up Vegas. I'm glad you did, because our market has higher in terms of media market. Our tourism numbers have higher. But there are naysayers out there. You've heard them said, oh, it's not going to happen. But as you know, a lot of these things, whether it's a corporation or a sports team that moves, you don't hear a lot of this publicly. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes. I mean, would a John Morgan and Workman and $1 billion be raised if there wasn't some truth to the fact of how realistic this could be?
This is very realistic. I mean, timing is everything in life. It's certainly everything in economic development. Who would think that the situation with Hurricane Milton and the roof at Tropicana Field, the fractured relationship between the Rays and St. Petersburg, would get us to where we are now? Orlando really is in a position to finally land a Major League Baseball franchise. MLB wants to keep this franchise in Central Florida before they explore expanding to 32 teams. So the timing is really attractive right now.
The timing is really attractive right now. And I get the piece between Tampa and St. Pete and the Rays and how the Rays put out a deal and then they backed out of their own deal. But I think you got to be careful in the terminology and the word usage there, like the natural disaster and the pair of hurricanes, but specifically Hurricane Milton, which ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field. I don't know that you want to use the word attractive and kind of see this as an opportunity. Like, this is our moment because, well, a natural disaster struck. If it wasn't for Hurricane Milton, the Rays would be playing at Tropicana Field right now. And all of this temperature regarding Orlando, it wouldn't be as high as it is because they'd still be playing where they've always been playing. Like, we might be talking about this, but not to the same degree. It's the temporary seasons. It's the fact that who knows if the roof is going to get fixed. Or sorry, who knows if the internals are going to get fixed at Tropicana Field, if that's going to be signed off and paid for. Like, that's the instability here caused by the natural disaster. And honestly, that's why Orlando's even in the conversation. So as a person who doesn't live in hurricane territory, thankfully, I'll just say that understanding like the earthquake side of things, I think you should be careful about talking like it's opportunity when a lot of this was based on natural disaster. Yeah,
and I've been saying for a while, John, I feel this is more realistic than many people realize. And you look at, there's really been nothing done in Tampa. What should we watch at this point? We hear about an expansion team, but that is a much longer process. If you're a baseball fan, what should you watch in the coming days?
Yeah, and expansion for having a team 90 miles away. I know several hours of driving away on Interstate 4, but I don't think expansion is it. Like, Orlando realizes it's poaching the Rays or nothing as it relates to Major League Baseball, or the Rays moving somewhere else outside the state so that Orlando can ask for an expansion team. But I really don't see the Rays, to their point here, I really don't see the Rays moving outside the state of Florida.
I think just the pressure on the Rays to sell. Sternberg bought the team for about $200 million. He'd make a pre-tax profit of well over $1 billion if he sold. And the team would stay in Central Florida in a great site. I think Major League Baseball realizes just how influential and important Central Florida is. This market should be served by a vibrant, successful team with respect to attendance, corporate sponsorships. You think about the naming rights of this potential new stadium. So it's really an exciting thing. And, one thought to naysayers, public-private financing, that's how these deals get done today, whether it's Allegiant Stadium in Vegas or the new RFK Stadium in D.C. That's how these deals get done. This would be part of the tourist development tax. It's the least onerous way.
It's what the leagues prefer, but specifically Major League Baseball. The commissioner, Rob Manfred, has already gone out to say quite clearly that we don't want to do new cities or new stadium deals unless the public chips in, right? He's taken the weight off of ownership groups by saying, hey, we pretty much expect that we won't be in a market that doesn't want to chip into, like in this case, a brand new stadium.
Do this with respect to local taxpayers and local businesses.
Yeah, and I feel like the numbers, and you know this very well. I mean, yes, $2 billion sounds like a lot, and the price could go up. But is money really the biggest issue here? Is that a hurdle that can be overcome?
Yes.
Well, money's always a critical factor. And you look at what's happening in the economy today with lingering inflation, lingering high financing rates, concerns about increased construction costs, building materials.
The same things we talk about a lot here on this channel regarding to the A's struggles in Las Vegas. Why doing any project? Why the Wynn Hotel and Casino Resort is not doing $200 million of renovations to their Encore Tower because of all the costs and inflation. And look, they're talking about this and thinking about this in Orlando too, which also makes me think and wonder, is this really the time if you're Orlando? I mean, I guess you have to strike now. You have no choice. Can they even afford to pull this off with, numbers skyrocketing?
And that's especially true in high growth Florida with all the development activity and how expensive and difficult it is to get construction labor. It's not just material costs, it's also securing that labor.
There you go.
So that type of a public-private partnership is really key to getting these deals over the finish line. Right now, that site is being used for overflow parking. But wouldn't it be great to have a year-round money-making event hosting new development on that site? I think so.
Well, John, I know a lot of baseball fans are watching this. They're excited. They feel Orlando could support a team. So we'll see what happens. Appreciate having you on. We'll certainly have you back.
Great to be with you.
Okay, the perspective right there from Orlando, and like I said, there's no hiding it, that you're starting to see a little bit of, and I don't know another word that's better for this, a term that's better, but a little bit of cheerleading, right? It's a group, whether it's media, whether it's companies like this, they will root for the team no matter what. That's what cheerleaders do, right? So it's starting to gain traction, momentum, conversation. I also realize that Orlando needs to be loud at this point. And who knows if something behind the scenes is really happening in Tampa or St. Pete or with the Rays and baseball. Like, are they really sitting idle right now for these weeks and months during the baseball season and not figuring out what's happening next for next season? It's a big question mark right now. All we know is that we're hearing a lot from Orlando, and some of it makes sense. Other parts of it, maybe not so much. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down there. Helps me, the video, and the channel. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'd love to see you back here next time.